welcome back to another episode. I'm just going to clap every syllable that I say. Another episode of Development Dive, where we take a deep dive into. I wish you could see. You can't actually see me, can you? I can see you, but you can't see me.
I cannot see you.
That I did for deep. I think we should learn it and do it together. You just take your hands and point them down together. Yeah, that's that's exactly what I'm doing. Welcome to a deep dive, a development dive of Galactic Cruise, where we are just going back and looking at all of the terrible work in progress versions of this game that we forced people to play, and revisiting them, talking about what we liked, what we didn't like, why things changed, and boy, do we have some good stuff for you in this one. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these videos as we continue our journey through the development of this game. And we hope you enjoy it. Yeah, so Koltin, as always, I'll let you start it off. What do you see?
Where to begin? First of all, let's take a trip around this VP track.
Okay. I just noticed what's happening here.
So we have the increasing income that at 50
so
starts
just like you said,
decreasing.
Jay's suggestion has made it into the game.
But then I was looking at these little cubes. It took me a moment to realize what these were. But this was allowing you to basically decrease victory points to make up for resources you didn't have for launching or for any time you would need to spend it. Which was cool, and then it's a little derivative of another designer that we. I want to name drop every designer and like every game except for that one designer and that one game.
We're never going to
just
talk
so
about.
People like it's a running joke now. But yes, the idea of spending victory points for resources was an interesting thing. Now, TK, I feel like you've got to talk to us about this waiting list over here.
This was my brilliant idea. Now,
this thing is 10 pieces large.
I will point out that this is the first version of the game where we actually instigated the waiting list dice to make sense, right? Because previously, the color corresponded to the duration, and the number corresponded to the room. Well, when Shim Phillips played this game for the first time, he suggested that he gave us the suggestion. I'll go ahead and point this out because this will lead us back to the waiting list. The shuttle segments to have the rooms on them, right? Because we used to have the different segments for the rooms, right? We had the interior, we had the window, we had the suite, and you could buy and install and upgrade those in your shuttle, and they had slots for the dice. He suggested that we put the slots for the dice in between the cards, so it created a spatial puzzle, right? And so by doing that, we were able to give these rooms a color to match the color on the dice, and then because we had previously switched to 2, 4, and 6 week duration, which I think we did that because we wanted to eventually get to where we were using the dice for the duration, because for a long time I think we were having the conversation of like, why aren't the numbers corresponding to the thing that has to do with numbers, right? I think we talked about that a lot, but we never did it. And so this kind of led us into that, right? And so because of that, we were able to jump to having the colors match the rooms and the numbers match the durations. But the issue was, right, previously we'd been rolling the dice. And so the dice were random numbers, 1 through 6. And so I think for a while, right, we were just rounding up, right? If we had rolled a 2, or I mean like a 3, we'd round up to 4. That way the waiting list always had 2 4s and 6s. right? I think was the goal.
Right.
And so I was like, why don't we just create a system here? And this came again because I had recently played A Feast for Odin, I think for the first time, where you've got those strips of resources, right? Of like the wood and the stone and the ore and the coins, I think. And so every round, those shift down and things get taken from them. And so I was like, hey, that's cool. Why don't we put that in Galactic Cruise? And so I made this waiting list where we would flip out one of these tiles, like in Feast for Odin, and we would take the die from the bag and put them out here. And so this would populate specific colors and give us the exact numbers, 2, 4s, and 6s that we wanted. And then every round, these would shift down and a new one would come out. And so they would stay out here until they're empty. And then it would function the same as the other waiting list, right? Like when it got down to here, they could go in, they could go in either room. So we actually kind of gave icons to the interior rooms, the bed, the window rooms, the window. And then down here, they could go into any duration. So it functions similar that way. But this kind of guaranteed that we had 2, 4s, and 6s, a good mix of colors. And I thought it was just going to be fantastic. So, tell us what we thought about it, Colton.
And it served its purpose, but in the end it felt very bland. Well, and it was quite frankly no fun to pull out a die and then just set it to a value.
Yeah, because you want to.
So if you played, so if you even played Galactic Cruise, a fairly recent iteration, even from like a couple of months ago, or maybe even like a month ago, you'll know that we pretty soon after this moved to pits instead.
Right. So it was like if you're not going to roll them, what's the point of having dice?
Right. So this was kind of the first step toward that. Though I do feel like there was a version down the line, I guess we'll get to it in a future episode, where we did bring back dice rolling. And it was just like there was some
dice
there was
did exist.
Some,
I mean, at some point it was like we left the number and they would only fly in, like that was the minimum amount of weeks they would fly. Right, so like a 3 would only fly in a 2, right? No, a 3 would fly in a 4 or 6. But like a 6 would only fly in a 6, right? A 5 would only fly in a 4 or 6. Yeah, that's how it was.
Yes, which is what we ended up doing with the like the tokens as well. It's like it was the 2 plus, the 4 plus.
Yep.
So we kind of got around that a little bit.
Say,
what was that?
Jump to our. So this, I think, functions exactly the same as the other card, but it was more like iconography based, right? Where you've got the duration, you've got the icons, the stars. I think in this version, because this is version 17, so this is literally just the next version from our previous video. But we did shift quite a lot. So I think there's no gold wings. Which brings us to the player board, which is quite interesting. Like it almost looks like it was clawed by a bear. That's the best way I can describe it. But basically what happened, right, was when you launch a shuttle, you get the silver wings, and you were slotting them into the side of your player board. Which to some degree is kind of cool, right? Like, but...
Yes. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you had to launch, which is why we had the...
Yes, that was the... yes, so we shifted from being penalized with wings for not launching to just straight points to make up for what you couldn't afford. Yeah, so there was no postponing.
There was no waiting, there was no flipping, it was all... If you scheduled it, you had to launch it, whatever that meant for you.
And so you got these wings when you launched. Then we still had the gold ones, but those were like counted as 5s. Like you could trade in, this full set of silver for 1 gold, And then at the end of the game, I believe final scoring, yeah, it is. It was just per. Whoa, the screen's going all over the place. It was just per wing. Like, it wasn't gold wings anymore. It was just per wing.
Yep. Yeah, so like here, this would be 7
Right.
wings for 35 points.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, coming back to our shuttle segments here, because we really transitioned. Made a huge transition that really stuck with the game. And what's crazy is all of these segments have one room on top and bottom. Either on the left, the middle, or the right. None of them have 2. Isn't that interesting? Because as you'll see,
So
as we
interesting.
go down the line, we go through a bunch of different variations of these different rooms with different squares matching up. But currently, we are back to this with just one. So we'll kind of get to go through that cycle. I do notice that the cost of the segments is now no resource. It's all just millions.
Yeah. And getting somewhat
They
cheaper.
are. Yep.
Though, like, I don't think we have anything that costs
No.
this much now, like a 7. But
Yep.
Looks like the economy was starting to tighten up some on us.
What about any locations? Any differences you see here?
Yeah, I was looking over here to see.
See, we changed our upgrade icon for the shuttle segment. Oh, we actually split a couple things, right? Because now it was... We actually added an install or build action icon. Right, you could pay $2 million to build a new cockpit or engine, and this let you upgrade it or draw a new card. And then that one lets you build segments. And both of these, if you were taking either of these actions, I think you could access your garage, which is what that garage icon on there was.
Yes. Yep. I think a lot of the rest of these are... Oh, storage we did simplify as far as saying, like, you can just always take 3, but you still couldn't take things
But I
that you
think
just
in this
raised.
version you could probably take any combination, right? Like,
I think so, because it was just a set
which is
3.
very similar to what it is now. Let's see. Developments is the same, technology is the same. Starting to add in new icons, though, to be a little more helpful. Agenda, though, does let you draw 2 agenda cards, so I guess we assumed 1 agenda card wasn't enough. So this lets you draw 2. Oh, and like I said before, the levels here are the multipliers, right, for the techs. And I think this version is where we switched to development cost. Right, there's no longer a cost on these tech levels.
Yes, because we can put the
So you
icon.
literally are just building a development. So you're paying the cost of the development and putting it on the tech. Yep. Trying to streamline that a little bit. But,
let's see. I was going to look at our player aid and just see if there were any things that did not. I think that did not translate well.
Launching's the same. We kind of looked at final scoring. Oh, it's a tech track's a little different because it's 5 points per level now. So there's no longer scoring actually on the tech track like there used to be. Used to be scoring each level.
This is the first time I've noticed like the money resources 1 VP per 3, which is pretty close to what it is now. But now it's money resources and agenda cards also get factored in there for final scoring now.
Nice.
Now we still have a useless launch tower over here. Not for long though.
It's coming. Something interesting's coming. I know it is.
Coming.
Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah, that's a good jump there, right? I mean, we finally got the rooms for the dice or the passengers in the shuttle segments. That's going to stick around for a long time, just in a lot of different variations.
Yes.
So
Still have 8
Yep,
locations that will soon distill down to 6. And these areas will get a lot more interesting soon.
Cool. Awesome.
All
Well, thanks
right.
again for tuning in to another episode of Development Dive as we journey through our ride of this game from conception to hopefully published.
That's
Yeah,
the goal.
and again, if you're watching this kind of as these are coming out, and the game isn't published, we're still doing a ton of playtesting. If you haven't played the game or want to jump in for a new game for another playtest, we'd love to have you. Links for our Facebook and Discord, email list, everything will be in the section below in the video. So feel free to jump in and join our community for that. But we'll see you in the next video.
Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you next time.